You're listening to the Tom Green Podcast, and I'm still in quarantine. I have not left the house in 4 days now, and things are going pretty good. I'm eating pretty good food. I had frozen shrimp and rice last night. Well, they weren't frozen. I thawed them out, put a little soy sauce on there, put a little spices, a little butter. It was pretty damn delicious. In fact, in some ways, I might be eating better now than I was eating before all this crap happened. But I hope you've been getting some sort of solace out of this podcast or information, or I don't even know what the word is. I just hope that you're getting some sort of comfort from this show and a distraction from all of the crazy stuff on the internet. I'm trying to create a tone around here that's going to be somewhat sane in midst of all of this insanity. Today on the show, I have my good friend Kato Kaelin. Kato Kaelin, of course, came into the public consciousness during the O.J. Simpson trial. We'll talk to him about that. He's also a hilarious radio and television personality, and I got to know him on Celebrity Big Brother, and we became very good friends. We had an alliance on that show, and if you don't know how that show works, we're going to talk a bit about it, and if you do know how the show works, well, we're going to talk a bit about it. But today we're going to do something a little special. Before we talk to Kato, I'm going to take a couple of phone calls from viewers. And if you want to know how to phone into the show, the way it works is follow me on Instagram at Tom Green. And when I'm going to do a phone-in show, I will go live on my Instagram story, and you'll be able to watch me do the phone-in show, and I will take calls from you. The phone number will be shown on the screen on Instagram, and that's how it will work. I'd also like to ask everybody who's been listening to these shows to just go to my Instagram, go to the latest post, and leave a comment. And if you're a Twitter person, leave a comment there. And if you're a Facebook person, I'm stumbling on my words. Okay, I'm not going to delete that. I'm going to leave that in because that sounded kind of fun. I'm stumbling on my words. So, clearly, day 4 in quarantine is kicking in. But that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take some calls from you. I'm going to do some special shows where we just take calls. I'm going to show you how that works right now. And then, after these calls, we'll have Kato Kaelin, and we're going to have a good long chat with my good friend Kato. But before that, let's take a caller. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello, how are you? Can you turn your speaker down? You need to turn your speaker down, and if you call wearing
gotcha.
And if you're wearing headphones, it'll be even better. So wear headphones and call me at this number if you have a speaker, or if you're listening on your computer, you know? Just call on your phone, turn your computer down. That's what I meant to say, or your yeah, I mean, who watches on a computer anymore? If you have a speaker, how are you watching, my friend?
Me, I was on the phone, but I had you on speakerphone, and I'm on the toilet right now, so it's echoing a lot.
Okay. Why is it echoing? Because you're on the toilet. Is the phone in the toilet?
Well, no, but it's in a stall, and it's echoing here. However, I took it off speaker, so it should be a little better now. Here, if you want to hear. Here, this is the first.
Oh, what an appropriate first call. Toilet humor. We need toilet humor, right?
Correct.
We need more toilet humor in our lives, so that was a very appropriate first call on the show, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that was?
I absolutely would.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say.
We need toilet humor. Okay, so again, this isn't really the show yet. I'm just basically making sure that it works. But what's your name?
My name's Johnny.
Johnny, how you doing, Johnny? How are you doing?
Good. I'm from Colorado, and I do not have the coronavirus, and I'm happy to say that.
Good. And how are you feeling emotionally and physically? You said you're not sick, but how are you feeling about all this? This is a pretty heavy thing we're going through right now.
Yeah, I'm trapped. I feel trapped.
Do you live alone? Do you have a lot of friends and family as support up there? What are you doing to keep yourself from, getting down in the dumps?
Well, in all honesty, I own a business, and I have 3 kids and a wife, and we're stuck in the house, and I'm worried about the business. We can only last so long without any income.
Of course, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I think everybody is going through that right now, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this podcast for my Instagram friends, is because I think we need to be able to talk this through, and maybe we'll come up with some ideas. Lots changing quickly in our world right now. We're hoping that the government comes up with some kind of temporary solutions to help people. How are your friends and family feeling about all of this?
Well, everyone's scared, and I got to say, listen, I was just watching Trump live right now, and all they're doing is arguing back and forth with the reporters. So I'm trying to get some information, is why I'm watching it, and I'm just seeing them fight. So that's, nerve-wracking, I'd say, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I wanted to try to do a show here where we can just talk about what's going on, how are we preparing for this, what are we doing to stay safe, and all the things that are new things that we're going to need to learn in this new reality that we're experiencing right now. So you're in Colorado, and forgive me, I mean, you're the first person that's called, and this is the first time I've done this too, and I'm just trying to figure this out live on the air, but I want to create a safe space for everybody. Do you have food? Are the grocery stores empty? What's happening in that area in the part of the country that you're in?
So what I would say is, which I've learned over the last few days, is I call the store, and they're pretty good at the grocery stores here, and they're good at telling you when the shipments are coming in and when to come, and they're regulating when you get there. So you're only allowed one piece of paper material, so paper towels, toilet paper, or tissues. So if you get there early enough in the morning, it's pretty calm. They get a new shipment, and each day they've been getting toilet paper, and you're allowed 1 6-pack of toilet paper, which should get you through, half a week. So there's no fighting over it. There's rules, and they're staying stocked up, as much as they can. But people are still, trying to take as much as they can. But what I've seen, here is that the stuff's coming in daily. So if we don't take too much, there's enough for everybody.
What have you been eating with your family?
Well, we were door dashing it quite a bit, but now that's getting me nervous. So, there's enough food there. There's a little bit less.
Is door dashing is that like Grubhub or something? Is that where you order food?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
We were doing that because a lot of restaurants around here, all the restaurants in Colorado are closed.
Yeah.
All gyms, restaurants, but you're allowed to order takeout.
Yeah.
So a lot of the restaurants are surviving by DoorDash, because they don't necessarily have delivery, but it's like a Grubhub or a Postmates type thing. So that's working too. But then, there's the fear of, who's come across the food. I don't know what's more dangerous, ordering delivery or going to the grocery store and coming in contact with everybody. So, I'm kind of uneasy there too. So, are you doing anything when you go to the grocery store or when you receive food to try to protect yourself and try to decontaminate the food? Yeah, of course. I wash before I go in, wipe down the stuff, and then come back. The other thing I've been doing is I go to the self-checkout because then I don't have to, do any exchange with, the clerk. That's at least one less person. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, listen, I'm going to take another call. I appreciate you being here, and stay in touch, okay? You can also leave a comment on my Instagram is probably where I'll be monitoring most of my comments. And let me know how you guys are doing, okay? Yep. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Huge fan. I've been since forever. Since the Tom Green Show. Love you, man. All right. Love you too. Be safe. Thanks. All the best. Okay. Okay. So that's the first call. We took a call. It worked. I think I have the system set up, and this is what we're doing. This is a serious situation in right now, and we've been doing this a long time together, guys and gals and ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls. We've been doing this a long time. I've been doing Webovision here at my house for years and the old show, and there's always been a lot of interaction, and I want you to understand that there's going to be a little bit of
learning curve here on this new show because it's going to be serious at times, and we're embarking on a journey with this virus that we don't know where it's going to end, and it's a scary thing. And I'd be lying to you if I said that I wasn't afraid. And so we don't know where it's going to end, and we don't know how bad it's going to get, but we do think, based on what people are saying, that this is going to be pretty bad. And it's not necessarily a time for goofing around constantly on my part. I do say, though, that I want you guys to have a place to come and blow off some steam, and I'm going to try to find appropriate moments to bring some levity to this, and we're going to get through this together, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to have some laughs, and try to make the best of a horrible, horrible card that we've been dealt as a society and as a world right now. Let's see if this phone call works. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, who am I talking to, and where are you calling from?
My name's Alan. I'm calling from Michigan.
Alan from Michigan, thank you for calling. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Yesterday I got the sniffles really bad and runny nose, and it made me nervous. But I've been taking my temperature like 3 times a day, and that's been good so far.
And are you isolating yourself and staying away from other people while you're dealing with this sort of uncertainty?
As much as possible. My work hasn't shut down, so I still had to go in. But yesterday when I told them I had a runny nose, they were like, stay home. And I took next week off. I'm hoping that within the next week, our state will shut everything down. So that's why I figure I'll take next week off, and hopefully it'll catch up to where they're actually making everybody stay home. So I have asthma too, so that I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, you have to be extra careful if you have asthma or respiratory condition of any kind, because that's what this is, as I'm sure you know. Well, listen, this is something that we're all going through for the first time right now. I've never done this, what we're doing right now, before. I've done a lot of phone-in shows over the years here on the web show and on the radio, and but there is obviously a very serious undertone or overtone to this. I mean, people are scared. This is a life and death situation for everybody in the world. This never happened before in our lives. So. How do you think I should do this show?
I think what you're doing right now is great, just asking serious questions and, asking people how they're handling it. Because I think everybody's going to have a different answer for you, and maybe we can learn from each other.
Yeah.
To hear, from people around the country and probably around the world, I'm guessing your scope will be. So, no, I think do what you're doing. I mean, just get people from all over and get their ideas, because, I'm going to be listening to what everybody has to say about it.
Have you picked up any thoughts or ideas over the last few days or a week that you think might be helpful for people watching out there, for people listening? Anything you've learned, anything that's been helpful for you around the house?
Well, you know what? Me and my friends, I think if you can stay a distance from your friends, I think you can still get together. Like me and my friends got together in a backyard. We had a fishing pole that was 6 feet long, and we stayed at least that far away from each other. But just being able to be in contact that close and be able to talk to them and see them in person lifted all of our spirits a lot, and it did a lot to help us out. And I think you got to limit that as much as you can and obviously be safe about it. But I think if you're able to do that outside in an open air area, that'll do a lot for your mental, stability.
Yeah. Which is something that I need to worry about for sure, my mental stability. I think that's part of the reason why I'm doing this show, as a way of not only trying to get information out there, but also as a way of trying to help myself deal with this. Because I want to make sure that we all can contact and communicate with each other as much as possible. Do you think 6 feet is too close?
Yeah, personally, I do. I was staying further away than 6 feet from my friends. I was good, at least 10 feet probably.
Yeah.
But we could still hear each other and talk, so that was good.
And the reason I'm asking is because, there's a lot of people watching right now, and I don't want to impart any bad information or inaccurate information and cause problems for people. And I think this is going to be something we're going to do on the show here, is when we talk about these ideas, we got to verify these ideas, and it sounds like you even thought already that 6 feet might not be far away enough. We should try to figure out an actual answer for that, because
Yes.
there's lots of variables involved. I've noticed that people, and I noticed this at the early stages of this, before people were actually isolating themselves, when I was beginning to isolate myself and stand far away from people. This was about a week ago. And I noticed, I said to people, hey, let's not stand close to each other. And everybody just naturally, as human beings, being social animals, all walk up and they're all standing, inches away from each other. And I realized that this is going to be hard. And I think it's also probably going to be hard for that reason when people decide to do what you're doing, where you get together in the backyard and everybody's staying 6 feet away from each other, and then one thing leads to another. Someone makes a little joke, someone has a laugh, somebody has a few too many beers, by the way, which I don't recommend drinking too much right now, because we want to keep our immune systems up as much as possible. I know that's hard to not drink right now, but I've actually begun to cut back on the drinking, which is something that I was trying to do anyways before all this happened. But you compromise your immune system, but all of a sudden then you also compromise your judgment. And now, hey, let's not get too close to each other. High five, bro hug, big laugh, everybody having a good time, and then all of a sudden everyone's sick. The thing that I keep saying is, we don't know where we're going to be with this in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month. In a month from now, we might learn more information and understand this virus better enough to look back at this conversation and say, wow, what were we thinking standing 6 feet away from each other? We know we have to be at least 20 feet away, or we know that that's fine and it's ridiculous that we were worried about it. We're going to learn more. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to really isolate myself as much as possible for the next week or two and learn as much as I can about what's going on, so that we can formulate a new way of behavior, a new way of behaving in this new environment that it looks like we're all heading into as a society. So I would say to you and your friends, figure out if that's smart, 6 feet away, backyard, getting together. Maybe take a few days of researching that and just isolating yourselves, because A, you don't want to get anyone sick if you're sick, and B, you don't want them to get you sick if they're sick. And my mother went to pick up groceries at the grocery store the other day. They have a system in Canada where you can order them online, and then you pull up to the grocery store and they'll come out and they'll give you your groceries. And so she pulled up and popped the trunk to her car, and they put the groceries in, and then somebody came up to the car and wanted to talk to my mom, and my mother put her hands up and said, move back, move back, move back. And the person moved back, and then my mother apologized to the person and said, I'm sorry, I don't want to get you sick, okay? Now, my mother's not sick, but I think that's a good thing for people to keep in mind, is anybody could be carrying this even if they don't know it, and it's a good way to say to somebody that you're trying to social distance from, I don't want to get you sick, because then you're not making them feel bad. You're not saying, hey, I think you're sick, I don't want to get sick. Instead, you're saying to them, hey, I don't want to get you sick, so I'm trying to protect you. I think it might be something that will help people social distance, because that's going to be a hard thing, social distancing, because like I said, we're humans, we're social animals, we congregate around each other, we want to make people like us. So by saying that, I'm not saying walk around with I have coronavirus sign on around your neck, but that might be something that might be smart too. So listen,
I bet if you wear a mask, it'll do the same as having that sign.
Exactly. Yeah. What a way to to create a nice bubble around yourself. Wear a mask at all times.
Yeah. Are you going outside, Tom? Are you taking a walk? Are you doing anything like that?
I am not going for walks. No, not this week. I'm exercising at home. I have a backyard that I'm fortunate enough to be able to go out and get some air. But I am not going for walks. No, and that's not to say that I won't in a week or two if it seems like that's okay. I don't want to be spreading fear and paranoia on this show by talking about, in 2 weeks, we're never going to be able to leave the house. Maybe it'll be the opposite. Maybe in 2 weeks, they'll say you can go for a walk. And I know they're saying that now, but they could be wrong. So I'm just kind of playing it safe right now. And I'm finding a way to keep myself occupied, and one of the ways is by doing this podcast and keeping me from going batshit crazy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, you're being careful, and I think you can't be too careful right now. So, I mean, like you said, until we know more, why not just err on that side?
Yeah, and it's not even just for me. I mean, I understand that, you know, I'm not in the age group where I would necessarily suffer greatly from catching this virus, but you know, I think that we as a society all have to come together right now and support one another by staying inside and not creating a culture, you know, a fuck you culture, I'm going to do what I want culture, and have that ideology spread, that then, of course, creates pandemonium where lots of people are running around and getting lots of people sick. And I think right now, let's just stay inside. I look at it as an opportunity. If we could just forget about how horrible this is, think of it as an opportunity. I've already reorganized my sock drawer 14 times. It's the best looking sock drawer. I've never seen a sock drawer so well organized in my life. Mine certainly. My sock drawer is usually horribly organized. I've gotten rid of socks that I never wear. I found a sock in there from 1997, okay? I was like, oh, I remember those socks from 1997. They've been sitting in my sock drawer since 1997, and I got rid of them. Finally got rid of them, you know? I just never got around to organizing that sock drawer. So I think there's a lot of things.
We can definitely use this time to be productive, right? That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to be productive by you know, when I'm not doing this, I'm calling my friends. That's another thing I'm doing. I'm phoning my friends and I'm talking to them on the telephone as opposed to texting. And I'm finding that's been helpful as well. Well, listen, thank you for your call. I want to get another caller on the air, but be safe and definitely keep me posted on how you're doing in the comments section on my Instagram, okay?
Hey, Tom, real quick, I just want to say thanks for everything you've done over the last few decades. I've been a big fan of yours since the 90s. I do comedy now, and I feel like you've influenced that, and I really appreciate everything you've done.
Thanks, man. Where are you doing comedy?
I do stand-up in Michigan. I've been doing it for about 6 years now.
Nice. What's your name?
Yeah, it's fun.
What's your full name?
My name's Alan Black.
Alan Black. And are you on Instagram? What's your Instagram address?
Alan Blackstagram.
Alan Blackstagram. I think I've seen you on there before.
Man, it's and
you've liked some of my pictures before, right?
I definitely have. Yeah,
I recognize the name. Hard to forget the name, Alan Blackstagram. Everybody go follow Alan Blackstagram right now and say hi to him and check up on him and post lots of pictures about how you guys are doing, okay?
Will do, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Alan. Bye. Good luck with the comedy. We'll get back to making people laugh in the comedy clubs soon enough, I hope.
I can't wait. All the shows are canceled, so it sucks right now. But yeah, I can't wait to get back up there.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Bye. I'm expecting a call from Kato Kaelin very soon. You remember Kato Kaelin from Big Brother. Kato Kaelin and I had a good time on Big Brother.
Hello.
Hello.
Kato.
Hello. Is this Kato?
Hi, this is Kato.
Oh, good, Kato. How are you? How are you doing, Kato?
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm okay under the circumstances, of course. Probably like every other person in LA or the world.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Just living alone.
Unbelievable what's going on. Are you afraid?
You know what? I'm afraid that I think like anybody, I hear a news story. And I on the internet constantly, and every time I hear of anything that's going on with a cough, or I immediately start associating that, am I sick? I coughed today. I just think the repetition of hearing these news stories is psychologically playing a trick on my mind. And so, I test myself. I can hold my breath for over 30 seconds, a good sign. I don't have a running nose. But, Tom, that I travel in a show with this Wizard World, and I'm in convention centers. I just got back from Detroit and Cleveland with thousands of people I'm surrounded by. And, the odds are someone probably had it there. Did they touch me? Did I have contact with them? I might have. And so I'm kind of freaking out. I keep looking at the incubation period of people say 5 days, then they say 12 days. So I'm I'm at about day 14 or 15. And I'm still awaiting a phone call saying, Kato, I'm infected. We had dinner. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how I'm feeling. I, of course, have. It's been about 3 weeks since my last stand-up weekend in San Diego. I think it was 3 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. I have been isolated now from any human beings for only about 2 days because I made a quick, mad dash to the grocery store 2 days ago. But that was my last dash to the grocery store. And then I'm basically going to ride this out for a little while, and hopefully they'll come up with a system of being able to get food, a system of being able to deal with this without getting sick. So I want to talk more about some of that stuff, but I just want to quickly sort of set up what we're going to talk about here. We just did, last year we were on Celebrity Big Brother together, and we lived in a house with 100 cameras, and we're broadcast around the world, and we weren't allowed to leave, and in that case had no access to cell phones, the internet, etc. Now at least we have cell phones and internet while we're blocked up and locked up in our houses now. But do you think we learned anything? Do you think you learned anything on Big Brother that's preparing you for just the idea of being locked down in your house for a while?
Well, this is the thing. I have been thinking about that a lot, actually, with Celebrity Big Brother, how we were locked in the house. Now I say to myself, what would you rather have, Tom? And I'm like, would you rather have at least the people around you while this feeling of loneliness is going on, or do you like being alone with this time? And it's sort of a double-edged sword because I really kind of enjoy the alone part, but do I enjoy it till April 19th or even beyond? I don't think so. I think I'm going to I kind of stir crazy. I'm a very gregarious person. I love being around people. This is, right now I'm on day, I guess day 5 or 6 or whatever, and I'm starting to feel it. I don't like it at all. And we didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't have anything in the Big Brother house, so it's got the sort of the push and shove of, what would you rather have? The Wi-Fi, be alone? So there's no real answer. I like both elements of being around people, but then again, I like being alone too. But if push came to shove, I think I need to be around people.
Yeah, and just so you know, of course, you can call me at any time. I'll be calling you. And to tell our listeners right now, Kato and I have become friends we knew each other before, but when we did the Big Brother show, I mean, you'd come up and done my web show before, and we'd hung out before. But when you came and when we did the Big Brother show, and we went through that, the insanity of the Big Brother show, which was it's just an interesting social experiment for sure. But it is a weird thing to go through that with all the human interaction and the strategy, and we were playing a game, of course. I'm here for you, man. If you need anything, I'm just up the road. We both live in Los Angeles, and we're here for each other. I would think,
Yeah, Tom. It's sort of a tough thing because, just think about you threw, some incredible parties. You can't do that. You could no longer do that with people at your house and having a party. There's close contact with people, and that's sort of a huge bummer. And then this whole COVID-19 coronavirus, it plays a lot like a Celebrity Big Brother show. It's like you could see someone actually writing a concept before this even started, like, hey, here's the new game show idea. People have a virus. You have to live alone. Can you make it? It's just so bizarre. Everything's closing down. And then you watch just watching news, Tom, it just puts you kind of in a depressing mode. And you, at least I do, I kind of go like, man, this news is psychologically making me feel like I'm getting sicker. I better not watch anything else.
How are
I go on the internet and I go,
How are your friends and family reacting to everything? And are you in close contact with people and obviously talking about this?
Yeah, I've had it's been a really, really tough month with, I had a brother, I think I told you on the Big Brother show, I have a nephew, his name's Alex, he's 29, and Alex had a brain cancer, and he just passed away, and it's been really tough.
So sorry to hear that.
My whole family. Yeah. And we can't have a funeral because, first of all, I can't fly right now, and there's no gatherings of 10 people or more, and I think not just for my brother's sake and his family and his brothers and sisters of Alex, that can you imagine anybody going through this with there's no There's no closure. You can't have a funeral. You can't have this memorial. And I just, my heart goes out to my family, my brother, but anybody else going through the same thing. And I thought about little things in life, like my senior year, how our schools are closed, and people that want to live their seniors in high school, no proms, this biggest memory of their life is shattered because of this virus. And it's a horrible thing what's going on in the world. Just that people, these memories are shattered for their entire life, and that their memory is going to be my senior year. Everything was postponed. I never had a prom
And this is the first time anything like this has happened in our lifetime of this magnitude. I'm now of the mindset that this is, comparable to 9/11, if not bigger than 9/11, in the fact that it has a direct impact on people all over the world, and people are all over the world directly afraid of getting sick. Not minimalizing how horrible or tragic 9/11 was, but
of course,
this is a thing that we're all going to have to adjust to. I mean, the story. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. My condolences, and people are going to, have to start to go through similar experiences, unfortunately, all over the country. I don't think people have even occurred to them the idea that there would be somebody that would pass away and they couldn't go to a funeral. That's a real tragedy. What are you doing to stay safe, to try to avoid getting sick? Have you taken any techniques or learned any things over the last week that you could share with listeners that you think might be useful?
Well, my entire life has been, I basically have my diet for over 30 years is I pretty much juice all the time. I even posted on my Instagram of what I put in my, from kale to blackberries to ginger root, habanero, and all these things. And it's funny you say this because now I'm reading everything is to fight this virus is everything I've been doing. And so that actually puts in my mind like, hey, I'm doing something right. And, so my diet has been really pretty much healthy. The thing is, I'll have to go to the market soon again to buy more stuff for my juicer. And that's kind of what I've been living off of. And yesterday was the worst thing I've ever done. I ate an entire jar of sauerkraut, and it's cleaning me out. So they say fermented foods. Sauerkraut, Tom, trust me, it works.
Yeah, I bet. Now, are you worried, though, that this sort of desire to be topped up on fresh fruits and kale and sauerkraut could lead you to go to the grocery store too much and end up having an unhealthy effect by picking up this virus when you're going to the grocery store all the time to get your fresh carrots and ginger?
No, that hasn't. The last time I went to the store, it was fine. I had no one even near me within 6 feet. I did that. The only person got near me was the checkout when I was there, and I was wrapped with a scarf around my head almost. So I felt pretty safe doing that. And what can you do? I have got to have food in the house.
Well, this is part of what I want to do on this show is talk to my friends and talk this through, because you say, what else can I do? There might be something else you can do. And, like I was looking into yesterday, you've got the Amazon Fresh delivery, right? So you could actually get your groceries delivered. I just want to make sure that people out there don't get too hung up on this 6 foot thing. Because what if it isn't 6 feet?
Yeah.
And the other thing that happens is you go to the grocery store and you say you're not going to walk 6 feet towards someone, but then, there's a guy and he's walking towards the last roll of toilet paper. Well, I better get it first. All of a sudden you're right beside the guy. You're fighting over a roll of toilet paper. There's, sneezes and things happening, So I just think that maybe, I'm going to give you my opinion here, but maybe you could, load up on some perishable stuff and ease off on the fresh kale for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's one of those things that even before the virus started, I used to always go and get.
By the way, I meant to say non-perishable. Load up on non-perishable stuff, right? Like stuff that you can just put in the cupboard and be fine for months, as opposed to having to go down and get a fresh, freshly sliced ginger every day for your delicate stomach.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with everything right now. So I think if I go to the market, it's going to be every maybe 8 days.
I
So
want to
think that's-
experiment with trying that Amazon delivery, Amazon Fresh Delivery, I think it's called. I want to experiment with that.
I'm going to try to do it, but I don't even have it. I got to get that now.
Yeah, well, you just go on your computer and you get it. I mean, it's something you can just get it instantly. You just go on the computer. You know how computers work. You're not good with computers, right?
Yeah, thanks for. So are you?
You're not good with.
Obviously, you're on this, and you get delivery whenever.
No, honestly, I just got on it yesterday. I'm somebody that's good with computers, but I never used Amazon really ever until yesterday, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. But
I haven't either, Tom. So I guess I have to do this now too. And
I'll tell you what I did. I'm gonna let you talk in a second. But I'll tell you what I did yesterday before I forget. I ordered an AM/FM radio yesterday and batteries so that I will, in case the power goes out or the internet shuts off, I'll at least have some sort of information coming in.
Oh, you're like Night of the Living Dead. You've got it going on.
I don't want to freak people out, but I'm just, I feel it's comforting to know that at least if something like the internet or the power goes out, I'll at least be able to turn on a little radio. Because I realized I didn't have a radio. I mean, who doesn't have a radio? But it's 2000. What is it? What year is it? 2020. I didn't have a radio. I mean, why don't I have a radio? And so I got a radio now. A radio.
I got you beat on that one. I got the radio. I got a VCR player too, and I also have a Beta player.
Oh, a Betamax.
I might have you. I don't think it's going to help me.
Yeah.
But, I have all that stuff still.
Yeah. But now, what about like staying at home? Are you going out for walks? Are we allowed to go out for walks? We're in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
they just made it as yeah.
Yeah, you can go out for walks. The updates are that you can go out for walks. You can go to a grocery store. You can go to a CVS, a Rite Aid, anything for medical, and that's pretty much what it's at right now. It's not a law that I can put you in jail, but it's something that is enforced.
Yeah. So what's that mean? Like you can go for a walk just to go for a walk?
Yeah, you can go for a walk. I got to tell you something that really bothers me though.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get your view on this thing. The girl I dated before this, you met her, and she's from China.
Yeah. And
I'm noticing of how even if you're Asian, I think it's a horrible thing that's going on because people send me clips of how racist people are becoming and fights are breaking out. And there's this clip of a girl holding a sign saying, "I don't have the virus. I'm Chinese. Please hug me." It's gotten to be where people are making judgments, and it's destroying us as a community, as a country right now.
Well,
I'm very aware of it because I have very many friends in the Asian community, very many, and it's like they're telling me how just because she's not even Chinese, this one girl she's taking a beating from people, not a physical beating, just like little under their breaths of saying things like "You Asian, you gave us a virus."
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't continue because we've seen too much of that over the last few years. Although I will say that she probably shouldn't be hugging anybody, regardless of her ethnicity, because nobody's supposed to be hugging anybody right now. Okay. So maybe she should have thought of that. Maybe she should have thought of that when she made her little sign. I'm just
kidding. No, it was something posted, but they were wearing almost like hazard gear. So
yeah.
It was
Well, that's the thing is I think that we really have to be careful about this social distancing and not be complacent and think, okay, I'm going to go for a walk, and the next thing you know, you're having a chat with somebody, and the next thing you know, you're 3 feet away from them, and the next thing you know, you're sick. And I'm not even saying because we're so worried about getting sick ourselves, because most likely if you or I were to get sick, there's a very, very good chance, high degree of chance that we wouldn't even have to go to the hospital or anything. But it's just about like keeping a culture and spreading information to people that we know out there right now and telling everybody, let's do our part, let's stay in the house, because if we end up getting this thing and then carrying it around and then passing it around without knowing it, then somebody who is elderly or has has an immune system that's not up to snuff is going to end up getting sick and maybe dying, and then you're responsible for somebody's death, right? Because you decided to
Right.
go high five your buddy on the street corner while you were walking your dog.
I agree with you 100%. But here's the thing: it's there's nothing. We don't know anything about this yet. We don't know what'll happen if you have it, and then does it come back up in your life again a year later, or 2 years later, or will we have a cure by then? And the thing is, what freaks me out is every day you read about another athlete getting it or a team getting it, and there's sweat involved in basketball. The sweat passes, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. 3 Lakers right now test for it.
Yeah,
it's going to be more.
And here's the thing.
And it just keeps.
Here's the thing that people need to consider and understand. You're hearing about a lot of basketball players getting the coronavirus right now, and you're thinking, well, why is that? Well, because the entire NBA, from my understanding, got tests done. So you're going to see more people in the NBA getting positive diagnosis of the coronavirus because they were all tested. So that's an indication of what's happening in society at large. The numbers are not that high right now. People are thinking, oh, it's not that high. That's because everybody in society has not been tested yet. So there's far more people walking around with this thing, and I just think it's better to wait it out inside until we find out what's going on. At least a couple of weeks. I'm just not leaving my house for a couple of weeks, not even to go for a walk, just until I find out what's going on. And that's my rant of the day. I want to ask.
They call that, by the way, Tom. They call it stealth carriers.
Yeah.
You're stealth. You don't know you have it or not.
Yeah, asymptomatic. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a little bit about your life and talk to you a little bit about your life because people know you and love you, Kato, and we've all known you for a long time, and you were introduced into the minds of many people in America and around the world due to a tragedy that occurred back when you were much younger and living with O.J. Simpson in his guest house, and that completely altered and changed your life forever, certainly. I just was wondering, if how that has affected you in your life. Here, how many years later has it been? How many years has it been?
Yeah, it's been I think 25, might be going on 26. I look back at when people obviously put clips up there, and right now Court TV is doing the OJ 25 series. So I hear many things on my Twitter feeds or any social media like watching you now, Kato, and sometimes I don't associate as me as the same person.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre with time that passes. But I don't want that sort of like the O.J. Simpson thing to define who I was and all that. I think that the good thing is that I am exactly that same person, meaning the innocence and honesty is there. And that's sort of, I think a lot of it has to do with my late parents and being raised with a large family. And I really believe that I just was a good guy. And for anybody to be in this situation, it was awful what happened, obviously, with Ron and Nicole, two young people that never have a chance anymore to be with their family, sort of start a family for Ron. It's an awful situation. And, it sort of changes my opinion. I've never was in a courtroom, Tom, in my life before. And the first time I was sitting in court, not even for parking tickets, first time I'm in a courtroom, it's for a double homicide against O.J. Simpson. So I expressed my opinion many, many times that I thought he was guilty. And I think many people obviously still do, but that's just my opinion.
So you were living in the guest house.
In a bungalow. Yeah, there were like 4 bungalows. I was in one of the bungalows, not, separate from his living quarters.
And of course, for people out there that maybe are young and don't remember this, which is, I'm sure there's not many people that don't know what we're talking about. You were living in the guest house of O.J. Simpson, the former football player, and he came home from you heard something, right? You heard something, and there was a
Yeah, well, it's been broadcast so many times. I mean, ESPN won the Oscar for the best documentary in OJ, and then they did a series on FX, American Crime Story, that won 8 Emmys. So it's always out there, and it's sort of like 25 years ago, but it's still a current event because they keep broadcasting this. So basically, was OJ Simpson was supposedly gone to Chicago on a trip, and then they found a blood trail from where Nicole lived to OJ's, and then that started the entire case of could he have done this, and that's could he have done this crime, and that's how it all.
Because you heard something outside that night. Maybe him coming home or something of that to that effect. You became a key witness, and then were thrust into the public eye. For how long did the trial go on? A year, more than a year.
A year. It went on for a year, I think, in 7 months.
So you were on TV every day, all day, every day for years and years and years. And up until that point, you were in Los Angeles. You were an actor. You were getting into show business. You were a performer and actor. And that, of course, now thrust you into this spotlight and completely changed your arc of your life, I would say.
Yeah, completely. I was, like many people, I've had my Screen Actors Guild card for, my God, almost 40 years. And so I've always wanted to, I came up from Wisconsin to become an actor, and, landed some commercials, got some roles in shows. So I was always out there. But when people saw me on TV because of the trial, what the beatdown was when I had gone to film premieres way before the OJ trial. I was invited, had many friends in the industry. But when you become on TV every day and you see that person at a film premiere, people automatically want to criticize, like, look, he's in a trial, now he goes to film premieres. It was backwards. No, I already had done that stuff, but now, because you saw my face on TV, you're like, everybody came to a judgment of either liking me or not liking me, but it was the exact same me. My face was known.
You've gone.
Matter of fact, one of your dear friends, I think your friends are Harlan Williams.
Yeah.
And Harlan, back before the trial, I had tested for a movie that Harlan was in. It was called Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. So my life was kind of like getting, I'm almost going to get there. I'm getting great interviews, and then life shut down. I became a caricature because people saw me as this character, Kato.
Yeah.
So everything kind of stopped.
And that was before the thing happened with OJ. You were out testing and getting it, testing for real big movies and comedies. And you're such a funny guy, Kato. When we were in Big Brother house, I can't even begin to tell people out there how hilarious Kato was. It really made it a lot more fun being in that crazy cuckoo bin that we were in. You were entertaining me endlessly throughout the day, and I kept thinking, while you were making me laugh all day, I was just thinking, and don't take this the wrong way, but I was just thinking, man, I felt bad that happened to you, but because I know that you would have been this you would have been this amazing comedic voice that people would not have muddled with this other thing, not mixed with this other thing, and that must be frustrating.
That, Tom, it's so, you nailed it on the head. It's so, it's exactly what kind of happened. It's like, man, what you just said was so profound because my entire life I wanted to do this, and then I became famous, but now people automatically associate, like, oh, Kato's from the trial guy, he can't be a funny person.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't say it enough. Really I can't say it enough, honestly. Like, if that had not happened to you, you probably would have got the Jim Carrey part in Dumb and Dumber. That's how funny you are. I mean, you literally, they would have said, wait a minute, I know we were going to give this to Jim, but let's give it to this guy. No, I mean, no, I know that happened before, but I'm just saying you are really an incredibly funny person, and I think it speaks to, like, what is it about our society in general, not just what's going on now with the internet, but just people in general, how we have this way of judging people and not forgiving people for things and not and remembering things and holding on to grudges, and you didn't even do anything wrong, and already people can't put that behind you and just look at you for what you're doing now, right? I mean, how does that
Tom,
make you
so,
feel?
You're so right. It makes me feel awful because people have that whatever image they created in their own mind, they can't get rid of it, or they try to get rid of it. Even in with network shows, that's why being in the Big Brother house, when we did our celebrity version of that. First of all, connecting you, you're a film star, and you've accomplished everything in your life. You TV show, actor, comedian, and so our connection was obviously. I don't know if it's you. When we sat on stage before we went in the house, I was immediately said, "This is my buddy. It's going to be my buddy," and it was right. It was sort of one of those prophecies, and I was like, "I'm going to connect to Tom." And sure enough, the first day you and I were like, let's watch each other's backs throughout the entire show, no matter what.
Yeah,
so,
and we had an alliance. We had an alliance together.
Yeah, completely. And I said to people still to this day go, "Are you guys still friends?" I go, "Yeah, Tom's the greatest." So
and the Big Brother community watched, and so many people from that show have stayed in touch with us on social media, and it really is kind of a fascinating thing. I've had a great when I'm touring doing my stand-up, and you're touring around doing your stuff with Wizard World. You have people coming out who watch that show, I'm sure, and it's just a fascinating thing, isn't it?
It is incredible how people associate it. First of all, we had our own trending with tomato, with the Tom and Kato with tomato, which is hysterical. Pictures of us as tomatoes, and but when you speak about that of those compliments you gave me, and made me feel so terrific, because this is what I think my goal has to be for people to completely, very hard to do, to forget about the association with the Simpson trial and to me to prove what's going on in my life now. And I do this job with Wizard World. It's my 4th year, and I in front of just kids with their parents and dressed in costume. If people don't know what Wizard World is, it's the world's largest traveling Comic-Con.
Okay,
and,
I thought you were you were saying that you're a wizard now.
Yeah, no,
Are you a wizard?
I'm a Wizard World guy.
So it's like a Comic-Con. It's like a Comic-Con?
Yeah, we have all the actors that you see in Marvel movies, DC Comics. We have the largest anime pop culture, which is me, and then people selling the comic books. But we travel to convention centers all over America, and then we just did Saudi Arabia. And we were going into Asia, but everything is pretty much on hold, of course, due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, my touring has stopped as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's been the biggest blessing in my life, because what I'm doing on the stage now. A really quick story is our CEO, his name's John Mata. John ran Warner Brothers. He started the CW network, the WB, and we became very, 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 very close friends through this all. And John started every hit show that's been on those networks. It's all because of him. So working with this man has sort of changed my life, that he's like you, and he sees what you saw, and he's been guiding me. And we have so many great things happening that will be happening in this coming year. And something we just did is on hold because of it has to do with having a TV show. But everything's on hold because of this. But I'm giving him so much of the credit because he thinks the way you think of what you thought of me on the show. So it's these little things just make me. It sort of makes you kind of go on to the next level.
Just keep doing what you love and just keep being yourself. You're hilarious, Kato, and I'm proud to be friends of you, and I'm glad that we've struck up a friendship. Let's talk about how I won 2 head of households and 2 golden powers of veto, and you won head of household and golden power of veto, correct? What were your What did you win? You won the golden power of veto and head of household.
Yeah, you were. Remember, this is a thought I had. You and we had our beds next to each other.
Yep.
And
like Ernie and Bert.
And you said, "Boy, we were talking about who's going to be the first one out. I hope it's not me. I hope it's not you. Blah blah blah." And then you were put in the block. I said, "I'm going to win the veto." And boom, we got the veto. We used it. Mm-hmm. And then you went on, and I said, "I think you're going to win the whole thing," because then you and people were going after us. And you thought 100% you're going to be voted off. I said, "Tom, I'm positive they're going to get rid of me." and they got rid of me, and then you went on this streak of winning.
Uh-huh.
You just went on, and I was watching you.
Yeah.
Because I watched the show, I was so involved with it. I go, Tom, it's like this other gear just kicked in. It's like I really thought all my money's on Tom.
Yeah,
to win this
man.
whole thing, and then you kept winning.
Yeah.
And I forget what happened at the very how you. I forget of how they voted you out again.
Yeah,
I thought
they did. Yeah, my favorite moment was winning that dice game. Where you have to like figure out the dice game.
You're rolling in this thing.
Oh my God! Because I figured it out in advance, and I realized, oh my God, I've got this dialed. I know how to do this. Like sort of, I calculated how to do it in 3 moves, right? So everyone else was running around in this. You had to get in this giant dice inside a giant dice, and you had to walk on a board and make 3 or 4 moves to then get back on the board with a certain number on the dice facing the top. And I figured it out somehow. And I just remember, I don't even want to name anybody's names because I don't like talking about the people in there and naming their names, okay? But the thing is there were people in there that had been so rude to us and to me in my way and you in your way. And I remember, people were really cutthroat about winning this game, and it got to the point where people weren't being very nice to each other in there. And then all of a sudden, I just went on this streak, and I was doing it for you. I was, you were at home watching, and then I won. And I remember, and I looked over at those people, and they had this look on their face. Their eyes were wide, and they saw me dominate that game. And it was just probably the best feeling of the entire game for me, winning that dice game. I loved it.
God, I wish I remember the game of how you just dominated. I just can't remember what your moves were that you had to land with a 6 on top or something.
So the way
you to figure that out.
Well, so the way I figured it out was I cut down the odds. Okay, so basically I looked at it. The way it works is the number that is on the top of the dice. You have to walk out into the game area and then come back without coming back the same way that you came, and end up with the same number on the top again. Okay, and so I figured out a way of doing that. I think that was the rule. It was something like that. But I figured out a way of cutting down the odds I realized that if you moved forward 2, over to the side 1, back 2, and then back to the side, and then up, it would always be one of two numbers of the 6 would be correct. And I'm not explaining this properly, but it was something like that. And so I realized that if the number came up, if one number came up on one side, the 1 was on one side and whatever that was on the other side. If one of those numbers came up, then there was a 1 in 3 chance that I could do it a certain way. So I kind of cut down the odds, and then I got lucky with the number coming up that I hope come up. I can't explain it. Honestly, I'm not very good at math. But it made sense in my head, and it totally worked. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I wish everybody well that was on the show. I don't hold any grudges. I know people not all people have, have been on TV as much, and people really, wanted to win that money. And the game is designed to make people go nuts and get mad at each other. So I'm sure a lot of those people are nice in their element. But you and Anthony Scaramucci and Dina Lohan, and I have stayed in touch. I've talked to Jonathan a little bit, and I've talked to Joey Lawrence a little bit, and I got no hard feelings, but I haven't talked to anyone else. Anyways, let's not talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
So Kato, let's get back to, and then I'll let you go because we're in the middle of a pandemic, so maybe you might have some things to do. But what are you doing today? What are you doing today to try to make sense of all of this and prepare for whatever we have coming ahead of us with regards to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak?
Well, part of it is I do like a workout pretty much every day. So after this call, I'm just going to go. I've got my own stationary bike downstairs with the weights and all that, and it really gets my mind clear. So I do that. I, believe it or not, am going to go outdoors today because I'm going to one of the Rite Aids or CVS's to pick up some stuff. So I have permission to do that. Yeah. And then after that, it's just going to be home, and I've got my computer, and I've been writing some incredible. I think, like you said, I really like more, not so much the stand-up aspect, but sketches, and I've been writing just a ton of stuff. And
I think that's a really good idea. I mean, that's why I'm doing this podcast. I mean, it's I'm doing this podcast for myself, selfishly. I mean, I know I want to try to get information out for people, but I'm doing it to keep myself sane. I think the people that I'm talking to, yourself, the callers that are calling in, it's therapeutic for me to be able to interact with the people, but also just to give me something to do, because I really am locked up here and isolating here. And I think it's good advice to anybody out there to find something creative that you can do by yourself. If it's drawing or getting on an app and learning a new language or learning a musical instrument, take the time that we have now to contemplate things and do things that we haven't had time to do in our lives up till now, and try to use that as a way to find some optimism with what's going on in this horrible event that we're going through.
Yeah, I once again, you're right. I think it's a time to find out something. You have time now to do something. I've got the piano, I've got the guitar, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to learn more and more and more. And I think another thing is that I know you're very close to your parents, and I'm sure you miss them very much. They're in Canada. You're obviously in LA. So, and I'm the same way. I'm staying in touch with my family, going through a difficult time, and I think that's such an important part of my life too, is to stay in touch with the ones you really care about. And when I got your message and all that, I was ecstatic just to be able to talk to you on the phone, do your podcast, just regardless. I wish that we didn't have this thing. I'd pop up to your place if we could do that.
Yeah, well, we'll do that soon, I hope. And be safe, Kato. I love you, man. And I want you to
love you, brother.
Yeah, I want you to be safe here, and we're gonna get through this together. All right?
Yeah, man. Love you, buddy. And you honestly made my not my day, my life. But thanks very much for the kindness. Your words mean so much. Thank you so much, Tommy.
Yeah, thanks, Kato. All right, I'll talk soon. Okay, let's talk soon.
Get healthy, everybody. Get healthy.
Yes. Thanks, Kato Kaelin, everyone. Thanks, Kato. That was Kato Kaelin. Thank you, Kato, for calling into the show, and I truly, sincerely meant everything I said. He is one of the funniest people I know, and I know a lot of funny people. I know actually a lot of the funniest people on this planet, and Kato is right up there with them all. I want you all to be safe. I want you all to really educate yourself and others around you about what we need to do to get through this together. And I'm going to be doing this every day. I'm going to be sticking with this every day, and we'll be taking more phone calls. And I'm going to plan a few days soon where I'm going to only do calls, and we're going to get a lot of callers on the air. So watch for that. The way it works when I do the calls is I stream live on my Instagram story. So follow me on Instagram at Tom Green, and I give out the phone number on there. So if I'm streaming live on my Instagram story, you can actually watch as we're taking the calls and call in. So that's the way it works. It'll happen intermittently throughout the day over the next however long we're in here. And I will be giving a tweet and an Instagram, most likely an Instagram story will alert you to when I'm going live on the podcast and taking calls. So I'm also going to be evolving this little show here over the next few days, and I'm going to be adding some cameras. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but over the next few days, I am going to be trying to add some, at least few days or possibly a week, and adding cameras as soon as I can. Obviously, it's not the easiest thing in the world to build a television studio right now, but I have done it before, and I'm going to do it by myself here, and I'm going to document that, the process of me building a television studio, and we're going to get back to doing some good old-fashioned web-o-vision. I've had a television studio in my house before. The old school fans know this, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to bring back the web-o-vision. And like I said, we're going to get through this together. I want you guys to stay optimistic, even though this is a horrible, horrible tragedy and a scary, scary thing. Let's try to find ways to find some sort of reason for optimism. This will end. Let's try to find ways to not get sick. Let's try to find ways to minimize how bad this is going to be for us in our own personal circles and lives. Try to not get sick. Try to make sure your friends and family don't get sick. And the way you can do that, and the way you can do your part, is by telling people what you learn from educating yourself and reading about this. And make sure if you see a friend or hear a friend is doing something that you think is not safe, tell them. If your friends are all going and getting together somewhere and hanging out and sharing the same air and being all over each other in large groups, even in small groups, say, hey man, tone it down for a couple of weeks. Maybe just look at this like an opportunity to get in touch with yourself for a minute. Take a few days to just learn how to be alone and do that. And don't be mad about it, but find a way to make that experience something that you can gain something from. And then you will do it because you'll actually be finding out some new things about yourself. And then in doing that, time is passing. And as time is passing, the powers that be, the government, the CDC, the scientists of the world are getting closer to figuring out how to get their handle on this thing. And you will have a better roadmap onto how you can go out with your friends maybe in a few weeks. Maybe there will be a way to go to the grocery store. Maybe there won't, and you'll be so glad that you didn't do what you would have done had you not stopped and thought about it. So let's have some patience. Let's take a minute to figure out what's going on, and let's be responsible. And let's get through this together, all right? I truly do love you guys. Thank you for listening, and be safe. See you tomorrow.